Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Hilltop Sports Report. My name is Jack Carlson, your host. I'm the student sports broadcaster here at Cornell College, and I have a very special guest on this episode of the podcast, episode number 45, with the Cornell College president, Mr. Jonathan Brand. Well, without further ado, let's hit the music and start the show on a very, very fun episode.
Let's go Rams! Let's go Rams!
Welcome back here to the Hilltop Sports Report. Mr. Jonathan Brand is my very special guest, and you get to do this with most students here on the campus, so now I'm going to reciprocate the favor with how are you?
I'm doing great, Jack. It's great to be with you.
Thank you so much for taking the time, and so much excitement is buzzing here in Mount Vernon, Iowa as you begin your 15th year as Cornell College president. What's the excitement level for you going into this year? We're nearing the end of Block 1 and just welcoming so many new students to the Hilltop. It's just a special time.
It is, and it probably won't surprise you. We go into the summer like ready for our breath, and then somewhere at the beginning of the summer, middle of the summer, you start feeling the Hilltop is just not quite as lively as it should be. And then come mid-August, student athletes return, international students return. You start to see students coming back, and suddenly you realize what you've been missing, which is the energy that you all bring.
Well, that's fantastic. We're so glad to be back and excited for another great year here on the Hilltop. So for those of you who are watching who might not know about the one course at a time system, I'd love to have your explanation about the benefits and the values of the one course at a time, the block system that Cornell is unique in offering.
Yeah, well, boy, Jack, it's such a good question. It's when I'm on the road talking to alumni, friends, foundations, I always start with what we do that no other school does, and it begins and ends with our primary point of distinction, the block system. So when you think about a school like Cornell, fundamentally it's about the community and the relationships. And the fact that students, I tell people, students are taking one class at a time, but our faculty are only teaching one class at a time. And when you have an average class size of, say, 16 students per block, it means that when you're in a block, and you know this, you're a student, it means that in that period, that faculty member is devoting 100% of their time to 16 students, not to 3 or 4 classes of 100, 200, 300 students, which means that the depth of that relationship it's so much more profound at Cornell. And again, to me, that makes a huge difference when alumni come back and a professor might see you and say, Jack, good to see you. And it's 10 years later. When I write recommendations for my students, because of the depth of that experience, I get to start my letters with, I've spent this time with this student in this class. Let me tell you why you want this student, why you want to hire them, why you want to admit them into your graduate program. From a student perspective, and really that's equally, maybe even more important, you're not distracted by 3 or 4 or 5 different subjects. You really get to be an expert in that subject for 3.5 weeks. To me, that is incredible. When you're taking organic chemistry, you're a chemist for 3.5 weeks. When you're in a history class, you're a historian for those 3.5 weeks. That ability to delve deeply into something allows every student to recognize that there's something interesting in every single subject matter that you study. The only other thing, there are so many benefits. The other benefit that I will focus on is there are experiences that Cornellians get to have that students on a semester system would never get to have. So for example, let's imagine you're a serious thespian. You love to act, and there's a play that you're going to be in. You can't study abroad on a semester system because it's going to interrupt other activities that you want to have experience on campus. But on the block system, where we have 10, 12, 14 classes per year that study abroad for 3.5 weeks, you actually can fit it into your schedule. You can have your cake and eat it too. I love that aspect of the block system, that it allows you to really organize your life and your time in a way that you can increase the number of experiences you can have on campus.
Yeah, and you make a great point about studying abroad. You yourself have experience from that from your undergraduate days, so I'm wondering, what was that experience like for you to take a semester abroad back when you were a student?
It was hard, and I will never forget. So I went abroad for a year to Paris. And I will never forget spending all summer organizing the paperwork, the visas, the work through the university to get there. And I'll never forget landing, probably was mid to late August, a long time ago. And I remember landing and thinking, okay, I've done it. I'm ready to go home. And of course, that was the beginning. I had a whole year to go. And it was, I will say, it was a challenging year. It was an incredible year, and I learned a lot about myself. And what I really learned at the end of that year was that I could do hard things. That's what I learned. And of course, I have a lifelong love of France. I mean, it is a place that I, in my many ways, feel like central to my identity and to my heart.
Do you speak French?
I do.
You do. How many languages does Mr. Jonathan Brand speak?
I speak, my English is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
My French is pretty good. My Italian is ever so modest. And after that, I would say there's nothing else.
Okay.
I mean, a little bit of other things, but, like 3 words in Greek. But that's it.
Well, that's very impressive. So let's go back in time now for a little bit. Mentioned those undergraduate years. When did it become a possibility for you to explore a career potentially in leadership here in higher education? When did that become a possibility for you, and how did you go about the process of that?
It was nothing, Jack, that I ever wanted or even aspired to. My dad was an elementary school principal and then an assistant superintendent, and my mom an English professor. And I will say that when I went to law school and I applied for jobs, which usually happens after your second year of law school or in your second year, I would hand my resume over to law firms and they would look at my resume and say, you're telling us you want to be a lawyer, but we think you want to work at a college or a university. I'm like, no, I want to be a lawyer. Well, I practiced law for 9 months and immediately went back to my law school as a faculty member. And so from there, I just sort of got back into academic administration, and my mentor and my boss at the time became the president of Cornell College. This is almost 30 years ago. And he was named the president, and the next morning I had an email in my inbox that was entitled, "Your Future." And so I went with him, but I can tell you I never had any intentional concrete aspiration to do this position. I'm one of these people where if you put me on a team with people I adore and I believe in what we're doing, I almost would be comfortable doing anything with that team.
That's fantastic. So your educational journey, you started at University of Wisconsin-Madison, then some time at Michigan in Ann Arbor, and then the other Cornell University. So explain for our podcast audience who might not know the distinction between Cornell University and Cornell College and what Cornell College may have as a leg up.
Right. So first of all, Cornell University is the younger of the two institutions. We are the original and the first Cornell in this country, and we're very proud of that. The person for whom Cornell College is named was a distant cousin of Ezra Cornell, for which Cornell University is named. A couple of years ago, I will tell you a little story. I received a package for the president of Cornell University. Her name she's not the president at this time, is Martha Pollack. And so I received this package, and it said, Martha Pollack, Cornell College, Day Hall, Mount Vernon, Iowa, 52314. Well, so it turns out that the administrative building at Cornell University is Day Hall. They got that right, and they got Martha Pollack right, but the rest was us in Mount Vernon. So I took a photo of it, and I emailed a photo off to Martha Pollack, and I said, "Hi, President Pollack, this is Jonathan Brand, president of Cornell. And I want to let you know we got a package. I'm going to send it to you, and we'll put it in the mail to you. And by the way, I'm a graduate of Cornell University, so from my Cornell to your Cornell, which is also my Cornell, I send you my best." And 5 minutes later, 10 minutes later, I said, from Martha Pollack, I never get to write to the Cornell president. How are you? So, yeah, but we are proud of being the first Cornell.
What a fantastic story. And so now coming to Cornell in 2011, and you've spent 15 years here, you mentioned teaching in the politics department. What is that experience like for you to also serve as an administrator, but also as a professor here?
Well, teaching our students, is probably the greatest pleasure within all of my responsibilities or work that I have at Cornell. I mean, it is what allows me to know precisely why I and the faculty and staff, why we do what we do. Now, you may not know this, but one of the points of distinction about Cornell is how much the faculty and staff absolutely adore our students. I mean, you might think that that's normal. And I suspect that there are other schools that feel that way about their students. I suspect. I'm confident of that. It's on a different level at Cornell College, and I think the block system makes a difference in deepening our feeling, our sentiment towards you, towards our students. So getting into the classroom to me allows me to know exactly why I do what I do. I mean, when I walk down the Ped Mall and I see you or any one of our students, I know why I'm here and why I do what I do and why I join others in doing what we do, in supporting you, in guiding you, in serving you at a certain level. The class gives me firsthand experience. And I see, also, I don't know if you know this, our students, not just do we adore them, you all are amazing. I mean, when I go into my class, and I commented on this last year, Block 4 is when I taught last academic year, to be in a class, and there were probably 18 students in the class, and for a student to say, I'd like to follow up on what this student said, and then somebody will say, yeah, I'd like to follow up on what they said, and to see the connection of the conversation, which is exactly what the academic enterprise is supposed to look like, that our ideas are building off of each other's ideas, advancing them, rejecting them, developing them. I get to see that in spades from Cornellians, and that to me, again, just shows me how well we accomplish what we say we want to accomplish, and how well you all do I mean, we teach, but we're just a part of the equation. Our job is to help you figure out what you think, to help you develop your critical thinking skills and your artful and captivating communication skills. I get to see that firsthand.
And that really is a testament to the small class size and the ability to form those relationships to help students like me succeed here on the Hilltop. So wonderful here by Cornell to have this system in place. You have a lot of responsibilities, Mr. President, and I'm not just telling you that. Just the amount of things that you do, but you also find time to run. You've ran in 12 marathons, and we see you all the time running here in Mount Vernon. Why is that such an important part of your life?
Well, I've been doing it a long time. I mean, probably 45 years of running now, and so sometimes things become habits and you just continue them. It is my moment, 45 minutes, an hour, hour and a half, when I disconnect from the world. My brain goes wherever it goes. I sometimes process things, I think about things, sometimes I talk to others while I'm running. I'm running with them, I'm not just talking to them, they're actually next to me. It is a moment for me to reset myself and to find balance, and again, it's a central part of my identity. Yeah, it's something I love to do.
And some of the people that you run with are our cross country and track teams here on the Hilltop.
Yeah, okay, so I think we'll have to work on the precision of this language. I used to run with the cross-country team. Now I start with the cross-country team, and they keep the light on for me at the end of the run. They allow me to join them, but to think that I run with them, well, let's just say I run generally around them.
You're running at the same time?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay, maybe not the same location.
No,
I understand.
No. We're together same time and in the same location. But, I mean, I'll give you an example. So last week I joined the cross-country team for these very challenging, hilly 800-meter repeats just to the southwest of town. Well, so I'm joining the women, and they start, and within 100 meters to 150 meters, they're 20 seconds in front of me already. So that's my point, which is they're very kind. They wait for me at the other side when we're done. And they're very encouraging to each other and to me, and in that way I feel like I'm a part of the team. But I don't run next to them. They're too fast for me now.
Understandable. Well, shout out to the Cornell women's cross-country team who won a meet a couple of weeks ago, so shout out to Coach Frawley and company there. So segueing now into some athletic questions for you. We're inside the small athletic and wellness center, had that renovation project, $20.5 million project culminating in August of 2022, my freshman year. Just a fantastic facility. Describe the process of turning the small sports center into the SAW.
Well, Jack, so did you visit the building before it was renovated?
I did.
Was
yes.
it under construction?
Under construction in 2021.
Okay, so
May.
did you ever see it even before it was under construction?
I don't believe so.
Okay. It was a real negative for Cornell. And not just for our athletic programs, for the entire student body. I mean, after all, the spaces that we have in here serve athletics. They serve all of our students, our faculty, our staff, the community even. We have members. I just passed a member of the community who was in the SAW working out. Before this project, this was an enormous negative, and I kind of wish that email had a scratch and sniff capability, so you could have actually, not just was it falling apart, but it smelled old. It was hard to imagine how we were going to recruit and retain students and student athletes with the building that we had. It took years and years for us to get to this project. I mean, we had a few other projects that were first in the queue. The Thomas Commons had to be renovated. We renovated 4 residence halls and added air conditioning. The Russell Science Center did not exist even before the SAW. So finally, when this project got to the front of the queue, our alumni and friends who know the importance of high quality facilities, including in athletics, they're the ones who came forward and said, we need to make this a financial reality, a reality. And it's thanks to our alumni and friends that we were able to fully fund this project and get it going. And given what I know, what we all know about the decline in the number of high school students, graduates now, which means that there'll be a decline in the number of students going to college, had this building not been done by this time, it would have put us even further back in terms of reaching our recruitment and retention goals.
And look at it now, just a fantastic facility. You were inside the gym along with a lot of other fans last night for the Cornell co-volleyball game as we record here on Thursday, the day afterward. Let's talk about that, and let's talk about your ability to support our athletic teams. Why is that a factor in your life and in your role as president to support our athletic teams through watching the live stream and going to home events and away events as well?
Yeah, well, so, I mean, I derive, again, part of what motivates me is being able to see what it is that we, the faculty and staff, the Board of Trustees, our alumni, make possible for you, for all of our students. Rochelle and I make it, and it's not even so much a responsibility, Jack, it's actually just pure pleasure to attend our musical events, our theater performances, to come to all the athletic events that we can. It is where our greatest joy comes from. And what I love about each of these moments in any one of those areas is you get to see firsthand, you see the educational value right there in the moment. You get to see what it is like to confront adversity and tackle it, or not, and learn from it. I mean, after all, one thing that a trustee always says to me, and I get this more and more, failure is only failure if you don't learn from the pain. And so, but also success is success, and we have that too. And so I love to experience that firsthand. And when I'm at a play, when I am at an athletic event, I am as wrapped up as you all are in the collective effort of the team to conquer, to win, to vanquish whatever opponent we have in that moment. Yeah, it is a huge joy to experience you all doing what you do.
Well, from our end as students, it's very special to see you and Rochelle there. So thank you for taking the time and making it a priority for us students. It really does mean a lot to us as students here on the Hilltop. So transitioning now to some more athletic questions, and what is your relationship as leadership here of the college with the athletic department, with Wendy, with Jeff, and all these people here in the athletic department to make sure that it's a well-oiled machine?
Yeah, well, so I obviously, Wendy and I are both members of the executive team. She and I work incredibly well together. I have incredible faith in her leadership abilities, as I do in Jeff as well. So a lot of the interactions that we have are actually informal interactions where we might touch base a couple times a day and just talk about how things are going. But I also, I mean, good leadership is knowing when to be involved, and good leadership is knowing when to not be involved. And so I like to have updates. I like to pay attention. I like to enjoy, as I said, what we do athletically. But I don't get into the weeds. And so I like to enjoy also from a distance in that respect.
Well, under your leadership, we've added some new intercollegiate sports, men's and women's lacrosse and women's wrestling most recently. How important is it to have those additions to the athletics department?
Yeah, well, I think it's important, and it is through these activities that students come to Cornell, and through these activities that then again students get to find themselves academically in addition. So I think having these sorts of programs is really important. Now, I will say, we haven't really talked about artificial intelligence, and maybe that's a topic for another day. But the one epiphany that I have had about artificial intelligence is for us to realize not what it can do. I think we need to know that, but also what it can't do. And artificial intelligence cannot replace experiences like being in a theater troupe, like playing the French horn, like singing in the choir, like being on an athletics team, like learning to live in community, like studying abroad. So to me, those are the sorts of activities and experiences that we will have to continue to expand, because I do not believe that AI will ever be able to replace them. And those are vitally important experiences for you all. Vitally important. I mean, when I talk to alumni who are athletes at Cornell, what do you think they talk about? I mean, I'm asking, what do you think they say to me 30, 40 years later?
The experiences that we learned help in the everyday, and it's, you don't even realize it until you put it into play 5-10 years down the road. It's just so many life skills from athletics. You're preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
I love sports with my whole heart. So the lessons learned, and even for me as a broadcaster, and what I observe too, it really is a powerful thing.
Yeah, and I completely agree. And so alumni, when they come back, they will talk about the one or two faculty or staff members who changed their lives. They will talk about the friends that they made for life, and they will talk about their teammates. And they will say, these are like my brothers or my sisters, and I still talk to them to this day, or we travel together, or we talk once a week. I mean, it is the foundation on which everything else is built, these relationships that really are forged in these highs and lows of being together.
Well, that's so well said. I really agree with that. And yeah, I'm experiencing it right now here in my 4 years here on the Hilltop. So next question that I have for you centers around the CSRI program, which has been launched under your leadership. And it really is a tremendous opportunity for students to get hands-on experience over the summer.
It's back to the doing. It is back to the doing. It is one of our signature programs. It is one of those moments where outside the press of the academic year, our faculty, experts, with our students can really roll up their sleeves together and engage in novel research, not just in the sciences, but across all disciplines at the college. And based on everything that I hear from our faculty and from our students, this is one of the academic highlights for our students. A little side story. So you may know that we have a range of some scientific equipment that we received thanks to a grant from the Sherman Fairchild Foundation. Well, they came this summer for a visit to see how we were using this scientific equipment. And what they said to us in the exit meeting was the joy, the pleasure, the thrill that they had in talking to students who were able to not just say, yeah, we use it, but to actually eloquently talk about how they use it, the expertise, the comfort level that they have with this equipment. And they said how unusual that was compared to other schools where students might, like a faculty member say, yeah, there's a NMR spectrometer over there. Enjoy looking at it because you won't get to use it. Where here, our students get to roll up their sleeves and actually work with the equipment in their research, and it gives our students this confidence and a leg up relative to students at other schools after they graduate.
The leg up part is so true. I mean, it's that real world experience that you're talking about. Crisis management is the next part that I want to talk about with you, and you've certainly had your fair share. go back to 2020, the delayed show. Oh, and by the way, a global pandemic going on. And then, my freshman year, we had a huge winter storm and had to adjust all sorts of things. And those are just 3 instances of things that you have had to deal with as Cornell College president. Walk us through what goes through your mind in those situations and the importance of teamwork.
Yeah, well, okay, so a moment of some vulnerability. One would think that after being an academic administrator for, 25 years plus, that when we have a crisis or something comes up that I would automatically know what the answer is. And I can't tell you the number of times where something happens, I'm like, wow, I don't know what we're going to do. And the next thing that pops into my head is, thank the deity of your choice that I'm on a team with other people. So let's get the team together and get the information we have and talk about what the right outcome is. And literally leaning into the team. And when I say team, I don't just mean the executive team. I mean faculty leaders. I mean staff leaders. I have huge faith in our ability when we sit down collectively and look at the information or or the challenge that we are confronted with together, we will find the best outcome. And whether it is the best outcome or not is actually irrelevant. If we think it's the best outcome, then de facto it is the best outcome. So I lean into the team whenever a crisis emerges. So during COVID, as an example, we had a crisis response team, which probably morphed into a COVID response team because it went on for so long. And we met more than weekly even, navigating the entire pandemic. And we ended up navigating COVID, I think, better than almost any school in the country, in part because communication was good, because Cornell did what we do best. We rolled up our sleeves together and we got to work and we pivoted quickly. We were on top of it. It doesn't mean every day was easy. We had lots of days where we thought, not sure we made the right decision. And yet somehow as a team, we got through it. And I think at the end, we kind of felt proud of ourselves too. We were proud of ourselves because we did so well.
Absolutely. That's really good, and really good you have the team that you have on your side to help make these decisions. So you've kind of touched on this throughout the podcast, but I really want to get your thoughts on this current era of higher education. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face coming out of this post-COVID reality?
Right. Well, Jack, it's a great question. We are coming out of this post-COVID reality. And in fact, you have been at Cornell through this period that maybe you've also experienced this. I mean, last year was the first year after COVID that felt like a normal year to me. This year feels even more normal. And by that, I mean pre-COVID. So at one level, I think we're coming out of COVID in terms of the comfort, ease, the interactions that I'm seeing and that we're having on campus. What we've moved from COVID is into this demographic cliff and this period where more and more schools, fewer and fewer students are going to college starting this year, in the fall, but they're applying right now for next fall. And so the environment for higher education is much more challenging now than it was even a couple of years ago. And so to my way of thinking, that is an opportunity for Cornell to ask ourselves, and every strong institution like Cornell should be doing this during highs and lows. We should be asking ourselves, what are students today looking for in a college experience? And what can we do on the block system that no other school can do that meets what students are telling us they are looking for in a college experience, and do that and be that with all of our might and all of our energy and all of our focus and all of our passion and all of our devotion. That's where my head is.
And you've had some of these initiatives launched in recent years, the Common Afternoon, the Block Ready program, among others. Walk us through some of those things.
Yeah, well, so let me start by saying, again, for any good college, the second an organization says it's great, it's begun its decline. That's a quote from probably Peter Drucker, an organizational savant or leader. So nothing that we have done, I would ever say we will do forever. Everything is a learning opportunity for us. So we have made one of the areas that we're very focused on, and we know this because this is what we're hearing from prospective students. They're saying, I want to go someplace that is vibrant and joyful, where there's a sense of community and belonging. And at the end of the day, if students don't feel that vibrancy, that joy, that sense of community and belonging, nothing else really matters at the school. They won't thrive, they might not stay. So first and foremost, it's really that sense of belonging. So some of these initiatives, like the Common Afternoon, was intended to give our students a predictable, consistent schedule with some moderation and some agency, some time every block when you all know that you have time yourselves to take care of whatever it is you need to take care of, whether it's a doctor's appointment, dental appointment, catching up on homework, getting ahead on homework, spending time with friends. But it's always going to be a work in progress. And I think that as we try to figure out how to encourage even more community-wide activities, which is where I think, well, where my head is, and I think where others, faculty and staff, our heads are going to, we have to ask, how do we leverage the block system, harness it, so to speak, to even give you more opportunities to be in community together. It's always going to be a work in progress, always.
And another thing that has been launched this past year is the Save Your Seat program. What is that about, and how can people get involved with that?
Yeah, right. So this is one of these great initiatives from Wendy Beckemeyer, Drew Schradel, the Office of Admission, which is, again, if you ask students how they go about choosing a college, university these days, what they want in a college experience, top of the list, it won't surprise you. What do you think it is?
Can I get in? Am I in?
Yes. Okay. So yes. Can I get in? If I can get in, what's their second question?
Am I in? Oh my gosh, I don't know.
Can I afford it?
Can I afford it? Yes,
Right.
very important. Yes.
And put a different way, can I graduate with little to no debt? And there's a lot of anxiety about the application process. And when I went to college, it was very common. You'd apply in the fall. The application deadline might be around January 1st. If you weren't doing early decision, and it would be April when you would find out. There was sort of a national day when schools would all let students know whether they had been admitted or not. Well, now it's all happening much earlier. So the Save Your Seat program was an effort to really demystify and take down the anxiety of our prospective students and their parents about the cost of attending Cornell College by offering them in advance insight into how affordable it is for them to attend Cornell College. And it's already made an enormous difference in terms of the number of applications, inquiries, applications, and even deposits that we've experienced up to this point in the recruitment cycle. I mean, it's September 11th right now. It's very early in the cycle, and yet we're ahead in part because of Save Your Seat, which has generated some nice buzz. And again, it just shows how forward-thinking our admissions team is.
That's fantastic. So I have one final question for you, and it is a future-based question. What do you think higher education is going to look like across the nation and across the globe 5, 10, 20 years from now? Where do you think this whole thing is going?
Yeah, wow. That is the million-dollar question. And it maybe goes back to what I had mentioned a few minutes ago about artificial intelligence and the focus on experiences, which is, at some level, I see this current moment as an opportunity for us to double down on what we know as a liberal arts college, that students will need to be critical thinkers, creative critical thinkers, that they will know how to be artful and captivating communicators. They will know how to work in teams. They will know how to be detail focused. And one other piece of this that I will mention now that I haven't mentioned before, which is the role of being ethically minded. That's right in our wheelhouse as a college. And so you take those learning outcomes and we all focus on them, and we focus on experiences that artificial intelligence cannot offer. And let me point out, artificial intelligence can provide a whole slew of information, but it's not ethically based.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's human. Mm-hmm. That takes judgment. That takes perspective. That's what we have to continue to teach, to do that which AI cannot do. So again, for me, where I think we're headed is doubling down on what we do really well on the block system, and ensuring that students have experiences that can't be replicated in any other way.
Well, that's really well said. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. So thank you so much for taking the time, Mr. President, here on this episode of the podcast. Really enjoyed this sit down, and I hope you have too where you're listening. Thank you so much for taking the time, and best of luck with the school year.
Thank you to you, Jack. You're terrific. And you are terrific.
I appreciate it. Thank you. So make sure to stay tuned to the Cornell College and Cornell Rams social media platforms as to when the next episode of the Hilltop Sports Report will drop. This one we ventured a little bit off the beaten path here, went more of the college-wide perspective, but really thankful for Mr. President Jonathan Brand for stopping by on this episode. I'm Jack Carlson signing off, thanking you so much for watching or listening, saying, I'll see you next time.